The biggest entrepreneur destination on the planet. This is Business Rockstars. Joining me now, we've got Eric Taussig. He is the CEO and founder at Prialto. Thanks for stopping by and joining us from Portland.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you could just tell our viewers and listeners right away, what is Prialto?
Prialto is a remote assistant company. People call them virtual assistant companies, serving entrepreneurs, executives, small businesses with service basically curated from Portland, Oregon, and provide service provided from around the world in Central America and Southeast Asia.
And who is this for? Because obviously there's that point in your business where in order to take it to the next level, you need help. But obviously you don't want to do that too soon when maybe you don't have profit coming in yet. So how do you determine when is the right time to take on virtual assistants like these?
Yeah, I mean, you have to have a real business, obviously. You have to have a business where you're starting to get into routines where you have playbooks, I call them playbooks, or workflows that you can delegate. And if you have that, it's pretty a simple calculation. If your time is worth $300-400 an hour and you can take work that a $24 an hour person can do and delegate it, that's what you should be doing.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say basically anything that only you can do, certainly do it, but everything else and anything that someone else could do, delegate it. Because like you said, time is money, and you could be focusing on what you're really, really good at and delegate the rest.
Absolutely.
So tell me about how you started this business.
Yeah, so I love connecting people, love helping people. I've worked a lot cross-border in my life, so I also like the challenges and opportunities of working cross-culture. Was looking for a business idea. My wife was managing a back office team from Silicon Valley. The team was in the Philippines, started to see the capabilities of those people and thought, hey, I can bring the abilities that she was building out inside a large NASDAQ listed company and provide those capabilities to smaller businesses.
So the virtual assistants that you work with, are they mostly overseas?
Yeah, so our assistants work in our wholly managed service centers in Southeast Asia, in Manila, and in Central America, Guatemala City. And we're looking to open 2 more centers in the next 24 months.
And obviously there are some outsourcing sites where you can get virtual assistants, but tell me about the benefit of working with your business, and I'm sure that you have more of a vetting process to make sure that they're working with the right virtual assistants. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, the vetting process is a small % of the overall value. We're a managed service. So anyone that's done outsourcing before knows that it can be really painful. The challenges of articulating what you need done is painful enough if you're articulating that to a junior person at the desk next to you in your office, let alone out of your office or overseas. You don't want to have to be so painfully specific in your instructions that you feel like you might as well do it yourself. So they come to us, they're talking with people with deep business experience that sit in our Portland, Oregon office, and kind of articulate their needs at a very high level. We'll just get it, we'll document it, we'll train the person on their behalf, and then we do that on an ongoing basis as well.
Interesting. So you're kind of the middleman, and as you said, you act like a manager.
We absolutely are acting like the manager. We are the manager on an ongoing basis. So we're talking with these people day in and day out. Most of the other companies in this space are kind of an out-of-home model or a marketplace where they really are just connecting to people. We believe and have believed from the beginning that in a hyper-connected world, there's very little value in simply connecting to people. You need to add a lot of value for both parties, both the person delivering the work and the person needing the work to be a real company.
Yeah, absolutely. So take me back to that time where you decided I'm gonna jump all in, because I know you told me off camera that that's really important to you and that you believe is very necessary to have 2 feet in if you're gonna do anything right. So tell me about what that time was like for you.
Well, it was exciting and scary at the same time. I mean, it's all those cliches, right? Once you cut the cord with your W-2 income, you got to make it. And my company is the same age as my 8-year-old son. So it was a pretty serious period in my life. Yeah. So I basically, partially on purpose, put myself into a situation where I would feel like I had very few choices, and I kind of had to make it. That's always been the right way for me.
Some people really thrive off of that pressure. Now, I've heard another school of thought that sometimes it's nice to maintain your full-time job and start building your new business on the side so you don't have that pressure, because some people don't do well under it. But kudos to you for making it happen. Was there a specific time that you knew, okay, now is the time to cut that cord and go all in?
Well, it was kind of a point in my life where, so I'd always wanted to do this, and my wife, my fiance at the time, kind of said, hey, if you're going to do it now. So it was just a time we knew we were going to have kids eventually, and just
do it before the responsibilities just piled on and on, huh?
It's like life. I heard somebody say something interesting the other day in a commencement speech that was, you got to make sure life isn't one big waiting list. So it was just, it was time to jump in and make it happen.
I like that. And you majorly pivoted a few times, which is important in any business, to really pay attention to the market and see where the demand is. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think in the beginning it was a real simple idea. We were going to I like lean businesses. We're going to have some people in these centers in the Philippines and in Central America, and we were going to connect them to people that needed their service or could use their service in North America. What we found was that people wanted help, but people in the U.S. have kind of forgotten how to use an executive assistant, and so what they wanted more than that, just that connectivity, was our best practices. It became a consultative sale almost right away. I realized that people, just by virtue of the fact that I was selling it, assumed I had a lot of knowledge, which I did relative to them. But what I realized is that I had to keep getting smarter and smarter as quickly as I could. And start to curate the knowledge that we had, because that's what people want more than anything.
Oh, interesting. So what were some of the things that you had to do or keep in mind as you were making those changes and pivoting your business?
Well, we knew we had to create kind of a knowledge center, and that we had to document everything. And so I had to quickly surround myself with people, I call them process junkies. I'm not naturally process oriented. I call myself process respectful, but not naturally process oriented, which is probably describes 90% plus of our 90+% of our customers. So I've surrounded myself with people that can help me keep myself on the rails, and then I deliver that service to other people that could use it.
So you yourself have built a strong team. We're going to take a little break and then talk about that when we come back. Also, how you moved your business from the Bay Area to Portland and some of the benefits to doing that. So much more when we come back. We are the biggest entrepreneur destination on the planet. This is Business Rockstars. We are the biggest entrepreneur destination on the planet. Welcome to Business Rockstars. We are continuing our conversation with Eric Taussig, CEO and founder at Prialto. So some of the best businesses are built when the CEO or founder is their audience themselves, because they had a need and then they created the solution for it. And I know you mentioned that you needed this. You needed the help yourself. You needed to build a team. So tell me a little bit about that pain point for you and how you created the solution.
Yeah, so there's multiple levels of it. So in the beginning, it was like, gosh, I spend a lot of time in a day, in a week, maybe talking to customer service for some product that I'm using, and I have to wait on hold and get transferred around. I could really use somebody to kind of get that done for me and hopefully deal with the problem from end to finish, or at the very least, hot transfer the call to me after they've got the right person on the line. So really simple use cases. What I found is I have a wider use case, which is really kind of understanding, like I said, workflows that I can delegate that create a lot of time. And there I think I really look up to Phil Lieben, who said, I'm a really disorganized guy, but I'm going to start an organization company. That's fascinating to me. Yeah, Evernote, right? And that's fascinating to me, because you would think, hey, you want to buy from somebody who's really good at something, but actually it turns out that the people who struggle to become good at something are actually better practitioners in the end, or better, have a stronger ability to teach others that skill.
Because they've been there and they know the nuances of those pain points and the struggles, and so they can create a solution accordingly.
Yeah, people that are naturally organized, naturally process-driven are unaware of it, so they're not going to be able to instruct others as well as somebody who's really gone through the pain of consciously learning it.
Yeah. So you alluded to the fact that you've hired people that complement your skills. So maybe they are a little bit better at creating these systems. So tell me a little bit about your team and how it's worked well for you.
Yeah, I look for, like I said, I look for process junkies, people who are almost compulsively unable to allow disorganization to surround themselves, that they just naturally will jump in and make something more organized when they see disorganization. And those people are very complementary to a lot of the executives that we support, who tend to be more ideas people, and tend to be kind of running around at a cadence where they don't have time to even decide, at least in their heads, they don't have time to even decide what they should delegate, let alone take the time to scope that out into the detail necessary to delegate it.
And you have moved to Portland. Was that a good decision?
Absolutely. It was an amazing decision.
Well, first of all, let's backtrack. What made you move to Portland from the Bay Area?
Well, I just think that Portland today is a better place to run a service company. Ultimately, we're technology enabled, but we're a service company. And Portland is becoming, I believe, kind of a human connections business cluster. So the concept of a business cluster, right, where industries tend to co-locate. It's a little bit counterintuitive. You would think businesses of the same industry would want to be geographically far apart, so they're not competing for the same customers and employees. It turns out they tend to cluster, like Hollywood, like Wall Street, like luxury cars in southern Germany, or luxury bags in northern Italy.
Yeah.
And Portland seems to have all these interesting features coming together to become kind of a human connections business cluster. And so I think we're playing into that.
Interesting. So tell me some of the benefits to being in that environment.
Yeah, so Portland is, on the one hand, extremely cosmopolitan. It's got an openness to the world, and it's liberal, it's cosmopolitan, it's open to different cultures and points of view. People in Portland can tell you the difference between food in the southern part of Thailand versus the northern part of Thailand. So they're really aware, but it's still got a small town feel to it. It's still very personal, very neighborly. People still let you over on the freeway when you turn on your turn signal. People still chat with strangers in the grocery store line. And so that combination is making it just a really, that kind of creative cosmopolitan side to that small town kind of friendliness and personal side is making it a really great place for businesses that want to bring technology together with human connection.
Sounds pretty ideal. And in contrast to the Bay Area, what would you say are some of those pros and cons to being in the Bay Area?
Well, the Bay Area is, extremely dynamic. You're exposed to different ideas and challenged all day long. If you can make it in the Bay Area, you can make it anywhere. By what I mean by make it, you attract good employees to your company because the competition for talent is fierce.
Oh, okay.
So, it's great to be in an environment where you're pushed. At the same time, you have to have a high ratio of programmers to business people to really be a viable company long-term in the Bay Area right now.
Love it. Great advice. Thank you so much for your time and for stopping by.
Thank you.
You bet. Eric Taussig, CEO and founder at Prialto. We are the biggest entrepreneur destination on the planet. This is Business Rockstars.